Tonight is a place where we want to kickstart the conference week from an educational point of view, but also to emphasize why Africa Awareness exists and why it was started in the first place. So I hope that with all the speakers and all that is here tonight, that you leave here inspired and motivated and want to get more involved with where Africa Awareness is going.
So our first speaker for tonight is Rick Willett. He's taught post-secondary for the past 5-6 years now, and I've had the pleasure and the honor of working with him and having partnerships with the club that we're working with.
I am representing the First Nations House of Learning, and it is my honor today to welcome everyone here to the traditional ancestral territory of the Halkomelem speaking Musqueam people. And one of the highlights of my job, I work as the Aboriginal Student and Community Development Officer, is working with groups and bringing together those groups with First Nation students in initiatives that are very rewarding and I think really speak to why we're here at the university and the kind of things we like to do. I really would like to say a little bit about the space and where we are and why I think it's very appropriate that we're here. The name of the hall that you're in is Stawatan, which is a Musqueam word, and it refers to a place that is actually very close to where we are right now, where visitors to Musqueam territory historically, and the Musqueam have been here for 9,000 years, would gather and they would share, they would learn, much like we're doing today. And as a reminder of that, the circle you see on the floor is a reminder that all people in all cultures are welcome in this space to share and learn. And I think an event like this really demonstrates why that is so important to us. So welcome and thank you.
With that, it's my great honor to welcome a certain young lady that I've gotten to know this past 4 years. We started in Africa Awareness together as volunteers. That's always a good place to start. We started there, and we were also on the executive team together the following year, in our second year. And I remember the meeting we had where we were crafting out what we're going to be doing here. And out of that process is how the UBC African Dream came up, which wasn't anything different to what the mandate of Africa Awareness was. But it was just really re-energizing it and getting a slogan that can boost it and for people to hear our message. My current president was part of that process. Regina is currently, she's in the 4th year, last term here, and she's majoring in women and gender studies, and she's also minoring in international relations. She's done an amazing job this year in continuing to push forward the mandate of Africa Awareness, and her leadership, or rather what you're seeing here today, is a result of her leadership and her ability to mobilize people towards this cause. And with that, I'd like to call Regina up to give us opening remarks.
Welcome to the 2011 Africa Awareness Initiative Conference Week. I'm exceptionally thrilled, honored and humbled that you've been kind enough to join us at our opening event. And I look forward to seeing many of you at some of the rest of our events in celebrating Africa as a place of promise. I'd like to express my sincerest gratitude to our sponsors whose immense support is why we are here today, and to our collaborators and partners who continue to stand by us, work with us in making sure Africa is relevant over here at UBC. Thank you so much for being here with us. Africa Awareness Initiative has made great strides this past few months, not only because we won the 2010 AMS Global Citizenship Award for our UBC African Dream campaign. That asked for the involvement of Africa in the creation of global citizens, but because an African Studies Committee has been formed from our President's office, President Stephen Tu, in which Dr. John Heban will later talk about. We have also lobbied our alma mater society, members of the Student Senate Caucus, as well as the Dean of Arts, to find ways to improve the current African Studies minor program, to make it more sustainable, and to start thinking about the possibility of establishing an African Studies major program here at one of the best universities in the world. This is because we believe that the University of British Columbia is an ambitious university, full of so much potential for growth that should actually involve some thinking towards the establishment of an African Studies major program. There are eager members of the UBC community who are really trying hard, waiting for the opportunity to better engage with Africa intellectually, especially in the classroom. There are more people who are beginning to realize that Africa does not need to be saved, but rather engage with, because truth is, it's only God's grace that has saved Africa this far. At one of the greatest universities in the world, if not the greatest university in the world, we would like to have intellectualism overshadow scientism as more people learn to challenge the fact that Africa does not have a singular story of hopelessness, helplessness, or any type of negative mess. Africa is a continent with creativity, humanity, diversity, and pluralism. And those words should become a part of people's vocabulary, everyday vocabulary. Despite what you may have seen in the disaster magnificent representation of Africa in the media, or the somewhat non-intellectual voyeurism in academia, there are actually more universities in Africa that will provide greater partnerships for UBC. There's a lot of ongoing research, and there's tremendous interest in Africa over here. So clearly, Africa needs to become a part of the UBC story now. As leaders of the initiative, we choose to be uncompromising when it comes to opening up intellectual streams that erupt with powerful greatness about Africa. And I encourage the global leaders, the future global citizens of the world, to be uncompromising when it comes to the marginalization, exclusion, and unrecognized leadership of Africa, and to instead encourage the perspectives of Africans when it comes to global citizenship. The likes of Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, Dambisa Moyo, and our very own Mrs. Geraldine Fraser Moloketi, who will be joining us here on Thursday, are prime examples of the promise of Africa's global leadership. Join us in celebrating the positive strengths of Africa. Africa has potential, vital possibilities, and strengths, and as well as commanding expertise. Africa has a multitude of future generations that swim in authenticity and celebrate our uniqueness with powerful identities, as well as indescribable elegance. Look at me. Africa is gorgeous and different, and we should all recognize this place of warmth, laughter, and promise. Africa is home to many of my heroes, role models, and they have stirred in me the unshakable conviction and the hope and promise of our motherland. Ananyankopon asase nyame mawu kumwe igwe modimo mawu yedawase ejina ho se Africa konini that yebejina ho no biashe e focus hey Africa down Africa one more fini Africa yebetumi yebekosoro. Let me end by saying, for those of you who have continued to be there for us, we are indebted to you and cannot say thank you enough. Join us because Africa is a place of potential, a space of essential promise. From Cairo to Cape Town, Africa is a continent of resilience and promise, a continent with so much to offer the world that often excludes it. Africa is a place of promise, a place of wonderful capabilities. Join us and engage with Africa intellectually, prolifically, critically, and pragmatically. What would UBC be like if more people knew the beauty, potential, and promise of Africa? What would UBC be like? The dream continues. Thank you.
Regina, thank you very much for your, I think what you've spoken here captures very well what we understood is the vision and the mandate of Africa Awareness. And I hope that those that are sitting in our midst here today, who can walk out of this room and go and make those changes, We hope that today you'll be compelled to do so. Yes, we are smooth talkers, as you said. Vice President Tappen, you've said so. But we're not just smooth talkers, we will also act. We'll keep knocking on your door until it happens. Yes, we're saying that, and to come from what our President has spoken, is that what we're advocating for is not just something that we value, but we think it will make this university the world-class university that it's setting out to be. That we want to be part of that progress. We want to be part of that story.
Next, we have a young lady, a first-year art student who's definitely on the bus. And so she's an eager volunteer. She's from Zimbabwe, like me, so I won't butcher her name. And so her name is Siphatisiwe Moyo, and she'll be singing a song called Modimo Liboka Wena. The co-advisors of the African Studies program. So we have Dr. Robert Miller, he's the co-advisor. He has an MA and a PhD from the University of Toronto. He teaches French and African Studies here at the University of British Columbia, and he has published several studies on J.M.G. Leclésio and other Francophone authors, including...
The African Studies minor program is headed up by a committee. And Dr. Miller, since I've been here, has been a great champion of the African Studies program. I always get humbled at the amount of time and effort and passion these people have shown in progressing this program, because much of what they do is out of their heart. They don't get compensated for the extra class that they have to pick up in the African Studies program. And this just shows how committed not only the student body, but also faculty members that exist, how committed they are in wanting to see this program progress. And this is not something of today. It's been going on for a number of years already, and we've sustained and we've kept the momentum. But we feel it's time to deliver, that we have to move forward now into the next stage.